Ladies and gentlemen, this is actually a really important statistic. We'll first start off with this. In 2016, independent voters, 46% of independent voters voted for President Trump and only 42% voted for Hillary Clinton. There's probably going to be an even wider margin in 2020 because Clinton's going to be the nominee. It's going to be a repeat. They're not going with Biden or Warren or Bernie or anyone else. And so Trump won independents 46 to 42. The really interesting thing about independent voters is that they make up, according to this, they make up 38% or 30% of the electorate. So I don't know if I'm reading this correctly. I believe I am. Independent voters make up a huge portion of voters. Trump won those voters in 2016. He's going to win those voters again. Why? Impeachment has been an absolute unmitigated flop, a catastrophe for Democrats. I mean, it's an absolute catastrophe. And well, I'll just read you a Morning Consult poll. This is just hours back. Politico poll released said 47% of independents, quote, oppose the current impeachment inquiry, while only 40% of independents support impeachment. The poll represents a 10% drop in support among independents for the impeachment. Independent voters, a vital voting base. You cannot win a presidential election without independents saying, yeah, you know what? I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I just want somebody I can trust or I can vote for. President Trump is a lot more trustworthy than Clinton, but that's a whole other story. I think the Washington Post, we documented, 13,000 things he said that weren't true. Multiply that times 5 for both Madam Secretary and President Obama. But if the standard by which they judged, I used a server for convenience, and you have these people who are like, yeah, I voted for the lady who had the emails. This wasn't the emails. She used servers outside of the United States government with top secret intelligence on them to hide her Clinton Foundation emails. You think the 30,000 deleted emails were about yoga? That's where the pay-to-play stuff is. Money flows into the Clinton Foundation, and miraculously, 20% of U.S. uranium capacity is sold. Absolutely nothing to do with President Obama's decision on not to veto the sale. Only President Obama could have vetoed the sale. So when they say, well, Clinton had no choice, she couldn't unilaterally do anything. She was Secretary of State. Problem was she had a Clinton Foundation that served as a money laundering and graft vehicle. What do you think? They're going to shove dollar bills inside Bill's pocket? Oh, thank you, make it rain. That's what I'm talking about. No, that's not the way. The Clinton Foundation served as a buffer or a third party. So you wanted to meet Clinton, like 85 donors who gave $156 million. Those 85 donors met Clinton. Then the Associated Press had to keep revising their headline because liberal publications were like, you can't say this. So eventually it was just like, donors met Clinton. That's it. It was like something absurd like that. 85 donors gave $156 million into the Clinton Foundation and met Madam Secretary. It was just a coincidence. UBS gave money and then was helped out with the IRS. That's a coincidence too. $10 billion was raised in Haiti. Where'd the money go? Coincidence. Weapons deals. Countries gave money. They got exponentially greater weapons deals. David Sirota broke that story. Exponentially greater than the Bush administration. Oh, coincidence. So we can go on forever. This is the type of thing that independent voters vote on. They know what's going on. They might not even like Trump's personality. This is the thing. There's a 10% drop in support among independents for impeachment. Okay, you would think, and this is dated November 19th, today's the 20th, but you would think that with the nonstop media coverage, you would think that independent voters would say, you know what, gosh, I don't like this guy's personality. There's so much controversy. That's not the way Democrats view anything that has to do with their chances of winning as national security. That's not national security. The Democratic Party's chances in 2016 or 2020, not national security, has nothing to do with national security. Absolutely nothing to do with national security. So it's like the DNC is a private entity. A private entity. Okay, I'm trying to fix this mic. The DNC is a private entity. The DNC fraud lawsuit that Jared Beck, Elizabeth Beck, and Nico House waged, 3 people who actually fought for Bernie Sanders voters. And I'm voting for President Trump. And how do you go from the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet to voting for Trump? Read my article in the Federalist below in the pinned comment. Why Bernie supporters should vote Trump 2020. It's below in the pinned comment. But support for impeachment is lessening. You're not going to... this is a failed attempt at ousting the president. Now, they're going to impeach Trump. It doesn't matter. They have all of these... Now that they're saying that Trump's witnesses are hurting him, the opposite is true. He had every right to ask another country about Biden's potential criminal or potential wrongdoing. This is the fact. I'm sorry. You can't simply say, well, it's before the election. Well, you're impeaching Trump before the election. What, you want to interfere? If Biden had an issue, he should have sued the Trump administration. Just like if Democrats had an issue with Russia or any other country, they did sue. They should have left it at that. You don't get a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton and then start a counterintelligence probe. That's why you have John Durham and William Barr. And you have to understand also, it's like Andrew McCabe is going to get indicted. Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, all of them, if not all of them, a great many of them will eventually get indicted. Because you can't, when I say eventually, could be a year from now. Could be, I think McCabe any day now, or any month now. But look, people say, well, you said that Clinton was going to get indicted. Well, she committed crimes, didn't she? And this is the worst part of, whenever I hear that, if it's from a Bernie supporter, I'm like, I scratch my head. I'm like, you do realize. And that this is the mentality that the left, this is why there's no left, or there's no political movement on the left in the United States of America. You do realize, if you're a Bernie supporter, that Clinton should have been indicted, that she committed crimes, and Comey covered up her crimes. And had she been charged with the same legal statute that anyone else would have been charged with, Bernie Sanders would have won. But they don't. The paradigm is you can't be too belligerent. They can go after Bernie Sanders. Oh, he pointed, he shouted. Oh my goodness. Oh, he can even be cheated. So they expect Bernie Sanders supporters to accept being cheated, which most do, and then pretend that 2020 was just fair, totally fair primary. Yeah, right, with Elizabeth Warren just happening to, thank you, Warren. Thanks for coming over. Thanks for campaigning in 2020. I could actually be ahead of Biden if it wasn't for you, no problem. With friends like you, who needs enemies? By the way, thanks for endorsing me, Elizabeth Warren, in 2016. Not, who did endorse me? Tulsi Gabbard. But apparently, at least Bernie defended her. But it wasn't like, hey, Clinton stopped saying that. It was like, Tulsi Gabbard's great. Leave it at that. Don't want to offend Clinton. But anyway, independent voters look at the economy. The economy's great. Record low unemployment. Wages are going up. Household median income is up. There's 1 million more job openings than workers to fill them. So independent voters aren't playing this game. And Democrats must win independent voters, especially in swing states. So I did a segment a little while back, about a week ago. Swing state voters don't care, don't want to remove the president over a phone conversation. So it's like they're going to go back again. Clinton's going to enter. I don't know whether it's a week before Super Tuesday. Doesn't matter. She'll enter. Then she didn't. There's the paperwork. She didn't sign the paperwork. Read the DNC emails. Read the campaign emails also. 500 conflicts of interest in the Clinton Foundation. 500 conflicts of interest. Bill Clinton enriching himself. And these are emails written by Clinton Foundation officials. This is what's so funny and sad about everything. They have completely erased their own words from history. Historical record in this day and age is so easily erased. It's so frightening. That's the one great thing about, H.A. Goodman's other channel and this channel, H.A. Goodman. Well, H.A. Goodman's other channel, by the way, Chris Matthews was the guy who, you know what. I don't even want to use the word in this pristine channel. Check it out. Chris Matthews is the one who dealt it and smelt it, and he's the culprit. It wasn't Eric Swalwell. Believe me, I would have loved to have. The hilarious part is this couldn't have happened to a better guy than Eric Swalwell, but he didn't do it. It was actually Chris Matthews, and I explain on H.A. Goodman's other channel. Get that segment viral on H.A. Goodman's other channel. It's really important, probably the most pressing issue we face as a country. But independents don't want to remove the president. They don't even like impeachment. They're tired of impeachment. The whole thing is, oh my God, this diplomat disagreed with President Trump. So what? Your boss is the president. Deal with it. I was overhearing some conversation today. Oh, well, Trump said he would get the best and brightest, and they've all left. And this is the only administration where, so much turnover. Well, what do you expect? You have the media working. This is the last stand, the last effort, the last chance for media before the paradigm has to change. If they lose again, 2 straight presidential elections, and I stated in 2015, Hillary Clinton is unelectable. I wrote that in the Huffington Post. And I explained how she would lose to Trump in the Hill and Salon. And she lost to Trump. And I will have called this election 3 years before it happens. In 2017, I wrote Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. Clinton's running again. They have zero interest in Biden or Warren, and especially less than zero interest in Bernie, Biden, or Warren. They cheated Bernie Sanders. Warren is a carbon copy that you can't even, a horrible carbon copy, and Biden has like a million different issues. Nobody's excited. And Biden wouldn't even win the popular vote. Neither would Warren or Bernie. So the chance Bernie Sanders had was in 2016, but he didn't fight for it, so whatever. People, she got more votes. Yeah, why? Read the DNC emails, the ones that Russia hacked to interfere in the election because they were so frightened of Hillary. Makes no sense. Nothing. Why would they be frightened if Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin at his home? This is according to Newsweek and The Hill. The I'm With Her crowd runs the show. The I'm With Her crowd runs the show. They are the strongest, most passionate. They are passionate. And you know what? This is the first time ever I'll say this. And I'm looking at this, and I've been thinking, what's going on? I've been thinking in the past couple of years. They're even more passionate than Bernie Sanders supporters, and I'll tell you why. If you cheated the I'm With Her crowd, they would do exactly what Trump did. They would stop at nothing for retribution. They would stop at nothing. Do you understand? They would stop at nothing. There were people who didn't even want to vote for President Obama, the Pumas. But if you cheat, first of all, they weren't cheated by Russia. That's nonsense. They just completely, they got Brennan and Clapper and Comey to, mitigate, lessen the fall. I mean, they were mortified beyond belief. And then they said, well, there's intelligence reports that even state high confidence judgments could be wrong. They're only confident that Russia hacked the DNC. Read the intelligence reports. They're actually very honest. Like, we don't know, but we're pretty confident. And they literally say our confidence could be wrong. And they're not certain. They didn't get cheated. They cheated Bernie Sanders. But the I'm With Her crowd they'll lose. Clinton will lose. People like me will vote for Trump. I'm more or less an independent now, as a registered Democrat my whole life. But I'm no longer a registered Democrat, but the I'm with her crowd runs the Democratic Party. So I'm thinking the Democratic Party is going to implode if Clinton runs again. When Clinton runs again, she will, and she'll lose again because it'll be a repeat. But really, when Clinton loses again to Trump, will Democrats really implode? I don't know. Maybe they'll just, it'll be a dumpster fire, but they'll just, regroup, and then Clinton will run again in 2024. When Bernie Sanders voters, the majority of Bernie Sanders voters, were cheated, you got a rebranding by people I'm not even going to name. And the rebranding was Medicare for all. And these are the same people who actually said, vote for Clinton in swing states, vote for Clinton, vote for Clinton. There was one guy who was like, I think I'm going to vote for Jill Stein. I'll vote for Clinton. It's like, no, you don't vote for the person that Max Boot and Bill Kristol are voting for and then pretend you're going to vote for Jill Stein. That's the grift right there. People say, H.A. Goodman's a grifter. It's like, no, it's not lucrative to go from Bernie to Trump. If I was worried about, just doing things for, for it being lucrative, I would go from Bernie to the I'm with her crowd. That's where the money is. That's exactly the fence that people straddle. So now you have the Bernie supporters who are like, we don't like Tulsi Gabbard. It's like, what? How do you not like Tulsi Gabbard if you're a Bernie supporter? How do you not even technically respect Warren, even though there's a million reasons not to? Especially if that's the issue. That Tulsi Gabbard, that was like, she fought against Clinton. Trump fights against Clinton. And then there's like a research report out, the Russians like Tulsi and Trump. Like, really? So Putin wants never-ending quagmires. That's exactly what would help Russia. Because he doesn't like Tulsi and Trump because their foreign policy is a scale-back version of U.S. foreign policy. So the whole thing's nonsense. But why am I harping on the I'm with her crowd? Because they don't care if they lose. They're very loyal. Far more loyal than Bernie Sanders voters, because if Bernie's cheated again, which he basically is in 2020, they'll say, it's okay. And they'll vote for Clinton. The Bernie or bust, I respect 100%. But this election is even more rigged. Anyway, they're going to impeach Trump. Doesn't really matter on a phone conversation. There was no quid pro quo because, number one, he didn't care about, he didn't investigate, he didn't want to investigate Biden because of the election. He doesn't care about Biden. Trump doesn't care about Biden. Biden doesn't even want to become president. He investigated because Biden possibly committed wrongdoing, either unethical activity, because of conflicts of interest that even President Obama's administration warned Marie Yovanovitch of. So when she was being confirmed as an ambassador, the President Obama's administration gave her talking points saying, hey, if they ask about Biden's son, here's what you say. Tell them to just refer to the vice president's office. I'm sure they'll give a really, really accurate answer. It's so easily debunked. All of this so easily debunked. But then don't ever debate anyway, because if you debate, a Democrat, anything you say will be used. It's like Miranda rights. Anything you say will be used against you. Record low unemployment. So what? Unemployment's not that bad. It's a big problem. Who cares about unemployment? Only the first president to step foot in North Korea. Oh yeah, he loves authoritarians. Like, the mental gymnastics is too much. And then they look at you like, what's wrong with you? You don't have contempt for someone just because of their personality, not because of their of the way they're behaving, of their achievements as president. You take Trump's personality away out of the equation. Oh, forget about it. Just the achievement. Can you imagine if Clinton was the first president to step foot in North Korea? Oh my God, she'd win the Nobel Peace Prize. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if there was record low unemployment? Could you imagine if she signed the First Step Act? She presided over mass incarceration. People still love her. It's like a topsy-turvy. It's like the Democrats live in a bizarro world, And then they think it's the Trump supporters who are like, oh my God, what? People vote for President Trump because they don't care about his personality. They like the country the way it's going. Great economy and a scaled back U.S. foreign policy. Not bad. What about his rhetoric? What about Clinton's rhetoric? You're okay with that? You want to go through the litany? Things she stated far more egregious over the years than what anything President Trump stated. Give me your thoughts below. Independent voters aren't having it. They're tired. They don't want it. They don't care anymore. They don't care about, the outrage from CNN and from Debbie Wasserman, I should say, from Pelosi. They don't care. And swing state voters don't care about it either. And you haven't abolished the Electoral College, did you? You'd have to, it's either a resolution. They don't even have a resolution for it, but you'd have to have an amendment to the Constitution that's 2/3 of the House and the Senate. That ain't going to happen. So have fun just yelling at the sky, Democrats. Clinton's going to enter the race. I will be right about this, and it's not rocket science. If people say, oh, she's never going to enter, she missed Alabama. She doesn't care about Alabama. Super Tuesday, you could get like 4 or 5 delegates from Alabama and Arkansas. She wins Texas and California. It's all good. And she will easily... Why did I harp on the I'm with her crowd? Hillary Clinton's supporters run the Democratic Party. Clinton essentially just controls the Democratic Party. But they're the ones who are the Democratic Party. It's not the people yelling about Medicare for all. And God bless those people, but they're being duped by... the pundit that said vote Clinton and then pontificated about Medicare for all, that's the real grifter. Because they're funneling everyone back to Clinton 2020. Or in their world, Biden 2020 or whatever. Warren, yeah, right. But it's really going to be Clinton. When she loses again, the I'm with her crowd will just, they'll be around 2024. And they're the ones who can raise the money. There is nobody in the Democratic Party who can even who can even get close to Clinton in 2020. She'll easily win the primaries. Each primary, easily. Easily. Because the I'm with her supporters run the Democratic primary. They are the most loyal, because if they got cheated, they would never vote for Bernie Sanders. Like, how there's Bernie or bust? Well, with Hillary or bust, it would be literally no I'm with her people would vote for Bernie. So he wouldn't even get the popular vote. They're that vindictive. And then they would blame Bernie supporters for, trying to divide the party. The I'm with her crowd is the rightful owners of the Democratic Party. It's a political machine. They view themselves as the most logical, rational, the adults in the room. You have Hollywood and the intelligence community. Can you get more corrupt than that? And they run the whole thing. And they do so at the behest of basically 2 people who, they might not know they're doing it. Comey hooked up Clinton, and every Hollywood celebrity worships Clinton for a reason. And it's tied to the fact that they don't care about Warren or Bernie. You have some celebrities here and there, but it's like... Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Independent voters, they're not having it. Give me your thoughts. Thank you. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. It was Chris Matthews, I'm telling you.